The voice that echoed through Saturdays, Mike Patrick dies at 80. Cause of death and final words etched in legacy. April 23rd, 2025, Virginia, USA. Mike Patrick wasn't just a voice. He was the voice. The steady hum that came with autumn leaves, primetime lights, and the roar of college football stadiums across America. On April 23rd, 2025, that voice fell silent. At age 80, Mike Patrick died in his Virginia home, surrounded by the love and warmth of his family. His cause of death was confirmed as congestive heart failure, a condition he had long managed privately with quiet strength and resolve. But even in the face of fading health, Patrick left the world with words as sharp and heartfelt as any he'd ever delivered behind a microphone. Make every game count. Somebody's dream is on that field, he whispered, one final nod to the game that shaped his life and the countless lives he narrated from the booth. The soundtrack of Saturdays. For over 3 decades, Mike Patrick's name was spoken in the same breath as ESPN's rise to prominence. If you heard his voice, you knew something important was happening. From the thundering matchups of SEC Saturdays to the bright lights of Sunday Night NFL, Patrick was the glue between the action and the audience. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't dramatic, but he was reliable, poised, and respectful, a professional in a world that increasingly traded substance for sound bites. He joined ESPN in 1982, before most sports fans even knew what cable sports meant. But by the time he stepped away from the mic in 2018, he had become a living legend, a man whose cadence and command became part of the American sports landscape. More than just the game. Patrick didn't just call games, he called stories. The walk-on kicker hitting a game winner in a hostile stadium, Mike gave it weight. The underdog coach finally pulling off an upset, Mike made you feel it. He wasn't just narrating, he was elevating. And he did it with grace, humility, and an uncanny ability to listen as well as speak. Colleagues say he had a rule: don't talk unless it adds value. It's what made him one of the most trusted voices in sports, one who knew when to roar and when to let the moment speak for itself. Legendary career, humble heart. Over the course of his career, Patrick called over 1,000 live broadcasts, became the first voice of Sunday Night Football on ESPN, spent nearly 20 years as the face of college football primetime, covered multiple NCAA Women's Final Fours, was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, media wing, but ask him his favorite memory? It wasn't a championship game or a viral moment. It was calling a mid-season women's basketball game between 2 small schools, one of which had never been on national TV before. Those girls were playing like it was the Final Four, he once said, because for them, it was. And that mattered. The private battle behind the public smile. While Patrick remained a towering figure in sports broadcasting, few knew the personal health battles he was facing. Diagnosed with congestive heart failure several years ago, he chose to keep his condition largely private. He didn't want sympathy. He didn't want the spotlight on his struggles. He just wanted to enjoy time with his wife, Janet, their children, and their grandchildren. Even in declining health, he kept up his game day routine, watching replays, taking notes, and wearing one of his old broadcast headsets while shouting mock play-by-play in his living room. To the very end, football was therapy. On his final morning, family say he watched a highlight reel of classic college moments. Then, turning toward a photo of a packed stadium, he smiled and said, "Make every game count. Somebody's dream is on that field," a broadcaster to his last breath. Colleagues remember a giant tributes have flooded in since news of his passing broke. Chris Fowler called him the voice of integrity in a chaotic sport. Reese Davis said he made football smarter and he made fans feel seen. Holly Rowe, who worked alongside Patrick for years, said, "He lifted me, protected me, and taught me what class in this business looks like." Even networks that competed with ESPN paused their programming with a moment of silence and a visual tribute. A life after the lights. After retiring in 2018, Patrick didn't disappear. He stayed involved quietly, mentoring young announcers, supporting journalism students, and even launching the Patrick Foundation for Sports Broadcasting, which funded scholarships for underrepresented voices in sports media. He also gave lectures on media ethics, advocating for responsible reporting and deeper storytelling in the age of clickbait. In every arena, he stood for something simple: respect the moment, respect the game, and respect your audience. Honoring the legacy. Patrick's family has confirmed that a public memorial will be held next month at ESPN headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut. A virtual stream will be available for fans and colleagues unable to attend in person. In lieu of flowers, the family requests donations be made to the Mike Patrick Broadcasting Scholarship Fund, which will support aspiring sportscasters from small towns and underfunded schools. The mic goes silent. In the history of American sports broadcasting, voices come and go, but some settle into the culture like a warm jacket on a cold night. Mike Patrick was one of those voices, comforting, consistent, and confident. He made us believe that every Saturday game mattered, that every player mattered, that we mattered, not as viewers, but as part of the story. And now, as fans, players, and broadcasters alike remember the man behind the mic, his words echo even louder. Make every game count. Somebody's dream is on that field. Rest easy, Mike. You made every call count.